You guys know the drill. This is a list of cool things connected to did I get what I paid for done in an alphabetical fashion. Some letters have more than one entry. If I seem a bit annoyed at having to repeat myself, keep in mind this is episode 5.
M is for a true classic. Manos, The Hands of Fate.
This is a movie I've wanted to do for a long time, mostly because it would make Torgo leave me alone. It's listed as one of the top 100 worst films of all time on IMDb. Personally, I've seen much worse. I think most of the mistake comes from the fact that it broke the crew of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Not only that, the reason this movie exists is because of a bet. The story goes that this guy, Hal Warren, was a fertilizer salesman in El Paso, Texas. But he always dreamed of being a star. Since he didn't live in New York or LA, the best he could get were gigs doing community theater. Enter the TV series Route 66. The producers, along with Academy Award-winning screenwriter Sterling Silliphant, thought that shooting the show in El Paso would not only make it look more authentic, but be a hell of a lot cheaper. All the extras could be locals. And you can see where this is going. Silliphant and Warren met and hit it off. One day, Silliphant told him anyone can make a horror movie. Warren asked, even me? Silliphant said, yup. Warren got to fundraising and got $19,000, roughly $150,000 in today's money, and released this abomination onto the world. Fun fact, the reason for Torgo's iconic walk was he was supposed to be a centaur. Duh. But as $19,000 was proving insufficient to produce the script Warren had written, many actors were not paid, and many effects and backstory elements were abandoned. I asked Torgo if he was really a centaur, and this is what he had to say.
Yeah. Oh. Now. The would the a always add who lay the hit to B O the X the real C 3 P O does and speak the million land wages Isha out in the air so low English.
M is for Mitchell, Duke.
This guy played the second title character in the classic film Bela Lugosi Meets a Broken Gorilla. But before that, he was a lounge singer. He was a poor man's Dean Martin whose career was going nowhere. Then he met Sammy Petrillo, who did a pretty damn good Jerry Lewis impression. So they decided to form a double act, Then they made a mistake. They made their movie. Jerry Lewis threatened to sue them and the producers. But once Martin and Lewis split up, there was no real demand for a novelty act whose shtick was ripping off another novelty act. So Mitchell and Petrillo went their separate ways. But there's another reason they're like Martin and Lewis. Their career trajectories. We'll get into Sammy Petrillo's post-Brooklyn Gorilla career next episode, but Duke Mitchell's was a lot more successful. You know how I joke this channel is stuck in the orbit of chimps and the Flintstones? Do you know who else would have understood that problem? Duke fucking Mitchell. After Brooklyn Gorilla, he went back to his lounge singing career, and he was pretty good at it. He even filled in for Dean Martin a few times. But while lazing about Hollywood, he'd somehow made friends with William Hanna and Joe Barbera. They used him as additional voices for a lot of their cartoons. Usually this would mean a crowd scene, but he could also be heard playing parking attendants, chefs, lounge singers, etc. Because he was an accomplished singer, they could bring him in whenever a character needed to sing. Most notably for 2 episodes of The Flintstones where he filled in for Fred Flintstone. He lost this job to Alan Reed by the time The Man Called Flintstone came out. Fun fact, his lounge act and his Hanna-Barbera work must have paid really well because he was able to write, produce, direct, and star in a string of low-budget exploitation films.
N is for Nick. Everyone likes Nick. If you don't like Nick, fuck you. Go back to F.
Back in the early 2000s, the internet was a very different place. Social media and YouTube were in their infancy. Most people used the internet to pirate music and take quizzes that harvested their personal data. I took that process and reverse engineered it. Instead of using it to target ads to a particular person and their desires, I did a party trick where I could predict my friend Nick's response to any question with 99.983% accuracy. Eventually I got bored of it and forgot I had it. 2 decades later I started doing YouTube. Once that I get what I paid for went to series, I got a software suite from the International Internet Reviewers Guild. It was your usual collection of apps. A calendar, something to remind me of what I was supposed to be watching. I kinda sorta pirated this weird ultra-tech device that I have no idea what it does or where it came from, but the instruction manual to build it was written so simply that even I could do it. However, the software was impersonal and hard to work with. That's when I remembered the memory stick with Nick's personality template on it. It combined with the Supertext AI matrix. Then it gave me this message. Warning, installing a human personality may result in sarcasm, insults, and cinematic torture. I had it running less than a day, and it was making me watch Star Trek the Motion Picture. Fun fact, Nick the AI used the real Nick's social media profile to update his own personality subroutines. Then he spied on his phone to get voice samples. Now the neuro-imitation is so exact that even though Nick doesn't have a mouth or taste buds, he likes the same foods as his organic counterpart. Be here next time for O through R. If you liked this video, please hit like and subscribe. To help this channel really grow, visit patreon.com/ParityErrorFilms and become a patron today.